All right, I think we're good. I think we're live. I'm going to mute myself and hopefully there we go. Can you all see my screen in the YouTube channel? I mean, in the Zoom. Caroline, Elena, y'all can see my screen?
Yes,
Yes.
yes.
Yay! Good. And hopefully somebody will show up in the YouTube and we will get started. One of these days, there'll be like an easier way to make all of this happen. But until then, we're just going to go about it this way. All right. I hope everybody had a marvelous weekend. And I think we're just, unless somebody has a specific question, I think we're just going to get right into it. Yeah? So I think there we go. I've got everything set up here. And let's do number one. Jeff and Alexandra Clancy have paid a total of $10,500 in mortgage interest and $1,500 in property taxes this year, tax year. If they are in a 28% tax bracket, their tax savings is. Now, I know not everybody has to do math, and I don't really want to do this math, but I do want to point out what we need to take away from this. And it's the idea that we should know, regardless of what state you're in, that the mortgage interest that you pay in a year can be deducted from your earnings, and so can your property taxes. So if I were going to do this math, which I guess I am now, the 10,500 plus the 1,500, what is that? Is that 1,200, 12,000? That's $12,000. And so we're going to find they get to save 28. We do that times the 28%, and that would give us an answer, blah, blah, blah. But I don't want to do a whole lot of math. I just want to point out that this would be the takeaway. The idea that we know that you can write off the interest you paid and you can write off your property taxes. But remember, that's just going to be for residential properties, just our residential properties. Yes? Hopefully that's making sense to you. And let's go on to number two. An example of a seller's credit on a closing statement is an example of a seller's credit on a closing statement is it a broker's commission, B, the contract sales price, C, the payoff of a first mortgage, or D, a transfer tax? What says anybody?
I think it's a sales price.
You think it's the sales price? All right. So we got one person for the sales price. So let's walk through it. What would be? Well, we know it's a credit, so that's money to the seller. And the last time I checked, the seller generally is going to be paying the commission. Again, now with this new lawsuit, buyer's agents, you got to figure it out. But I think that this is generally going to be a seller debit. So it's money from, in this case, the seller. I agree with you. I mean, the contract sales price is going to be a seller credit, but remember, it also needs to be a buyer debit. We got to show that the buyer paid it. The payoff of a first mortgage. Well, who would have a first mortgage? That would be the seller. The seller needs to pay off the mortgage that they currently have on the home. So that would be a seller debit. So that's not going to be our answer. And then a transfer tax. Generally, that's going to be paid by the seller. Sometimes it might be a buyer debit, but either way, it's a tax to be paid. So that's not our answer. So I'm going with yes, I believe Elena is right. And it would be B. Yay! All right. Let's keep on going. There we go. Number 3. All of the salespersons in the AI's brokerage firm, in AI, that's how you know you work too much in AI. That does not say AI. Y'all, that says Al. AI does not have a brokerage firm. That says Al. All of the salesperson in Al's brokerage firm work as independent contractors. Their office most likely provides them with which of the following? Oh, I hope you feel better soon, Caroline. It's okay. You can just sit and listen. Not a problem.
I think it's A. It's access to MLS.
All right, so you're thinking it's A. So let's see. Health insurance. Well, we know since they're independent contractors, you are not getting health insurance through your employer because you're not really being employed. You're an independent contractor. They're not going to withhold taxes, and I wish they had paid vacations, but no, making our correct answer, like you said, it's 3, or 3 is A, access to the MLS. Nice job, Miss Elena. All right, our next one. The management agreement does all of the following except. So I'm assuming what they're talking about here is the property management agreement. Does all of the following except. So that means at least 3 of these are going to be true things and 1 is going to be false. That's something the property manager doesn't do. So, does the property management agreement identify the parties? I'm thinking that's a true. Authorize the manager to make personal deals resulting in outside compensation by suppliers. That sounds a little shady to me because you're making personal deals resulting in outside compensation. I'm gonna have to go with the false on that one for right now. C is describe the manager's responsibilities and authorities. Most definitely, because we know the property management agreement has to say, well, because this is a general agency, you can do some things. You have power of attorney over some things, but not all things. So that is definitely a true statement. And then D says, state the owner's overall goals for the property. And that's true too, because if you're the property manager, you've got to figure out, well, what is it you're looking for? Are you trying to provide affordable housing? Are you trying to make the most money? Are you trying to be known as the best? Like, what do you want? That's your job as the property manager. So we're looking for the false one. There's 3 T's. So we don't want the T's. We don't want this one. We don't want this one. We don't want this one. And that makes our answer B. Nice. All right. Let's move on to number 5. For appraising a 20-year-old single-family residence, the best data is the. So if we're appraising a 20-year-old single-family residence, the best data is. Now, one of the things I will suggest that we do, and something I tend to do, is even before I read the answer choices, or I like to tell people, it's the devil is in the details. And we want to make sure that what we're doing is we catch everything. So read the question once and then read it again. And since it is a single family residence, that tells me it's going to be the sales comparison.
Or market data approach, and I think it's a B. Yep. Recent sell price for nearby houses.
Yeah, the market data approach. And now let's see if one of them, okay, well, we know it's not the rental figure. Recent sale prices of nearby houses. I do like that. Replacement cost is the cost approach. This would have been the income approach and the owner's original cost plus money spent on a, no. So yes, our answer is B. Elena, you are killing it as usual. And I see you agreed with her, Miss Caroline. We love that. Love it. All right. The provisions of the Real Estate Settlement Procedures Act, or RESPA, apply to, is it A, 1 to 4 family residential mortgage loans, B, all residential mortgage loans, C, all mortgages except home equity loans, or D, installment contracts?
I think it's A.
I think it's A too. So if it is A, what makes B, C, and D wrong? So why would B? I agree with you. And it is.
Because
The answer is A.
RESPA is not apply for all
Yep.
residential mortgage loans. It's
It's
not apply.
that all. Yeah, you can't. It's not all. And the same with this one. It's not all. And then we know our installment contract or our land contracts. So that's not it. That's going to be a form of seller financing. And it doesn't apply to that. Right. Oof. Number 7 is some math. We'll skip that for today. It feels like a Monday to me today. I don't know why. I feel like I've been Mondaying it all day. It's probably because I took my mom to Best Buy to explain computer stuff, y'all. And oof, I had a headache when I left. Had a
Me
headache.
too, 3 small kids. I feel like you.
I was like, oh, okay, we got to explain it. But you know what? She took great care of me when I was little, so we're going to do what we have to do now. Grab some water. All right. All are true about an appraisal except. So that means we're going to have 3 true and 1 false. All are true about an appraisal except A, it is the impartial third party who prepares the appraisal. An impartial third party who prepares. So by prepares, they mean creates. And that's true. You can't be the appraiser if you have a personal interest in the property. That's a true statement. The appraiser service is performed for a fee. Yes, that's true because they don't do it for free. The appraiser does not have an agency relationship with the party for whom the appraisal is performed. Well, that's true too, because agency means it would be like the seller hiring appraisal and the seller then doing the appraisal. Like we don't, it's got to be a third party. And then that leaves us with an appraiser determines value. Uh-oh. Now, it means I missed something. What are we missing? All are true except. Oh, I know what I missed. Wait, no, I don't. Let's see. What did I miss? What are we missing here, guys? This is what happens when I read too fast. Hmm. Hmm. Okay, I am doubly sure it has to be an impartial third party. This is where we go through all the words. Yeah, it is confusing, Caroline, right? I was like, wait, this is all true. So is there, when something like this happens, I have to really look at it. And it has to be an impartial third party. So that has to be, okay, I know that's a true statement. And I know the appraisal or service is performed for a fee, but I guess an appraiser could do it for free if they wanted to. Okay, I'm gonna leave
What
it.
about C? What about C? The
The
appraiser
appraiser
does not.
does not have an agency relationship. Well, for a minute there, I didn't see the word not, but that's true. The appraiser can't be an agent of the bank like that. It's got to be a third party. It has to be an impartial third party. This has to be true. An appraiser determines value. Maybe the only thing I can think of is maybe there's a difference between market price and market
Market value.
value. And I know market value is an estimate. So, I mean, that's the only. I can't see an appraiser doing it for free. I, I, I don't even know y'all. And that's okay. This is when we get into these things. So if it was me and I was doing this, I would probably go with D. But before I look at the answer choice, what do you all think? What would you go with? You do not have to agree with me because I am stuck. I am truly 100% stuck. What do you all think it would be? What would you go with, Miss Caroline? What would you go with, Miss Elena?
D, but it's a bad question.
This is how I know you've been with me too long. You're like, this is a bad question. You know what? We're going bad.
I am going with D, but also I'm thinking about C.
Okay. Okay. We're all going to go with D. So let's see. I got to go over to our answer key. Hold on. I keep hitting. All right. They said it is D, and I'm going to read it. An appraiser does not determine value, but rather provides an estimate of value. This one needed, I think, on the test, this idea that you all know the difference between market price and market value is, I mean, I think if you were going to be tested on the fact that an appraiser gives an estimate of value, you're more likely to be, tested on this idea that if you have three different appraisers, you could get three different answers because it's their opinion. It's their estimate of value. So I'm going to go with bad question on that one. I don't like that one either, ladies. I mean, they need to do better. All right. Skipping 9 because we're not doing math today. Let's do 10. The economic characteristics of land. The economic characteristics of land. So we know this has to do with money. Is it scarcity, fixity, modification, and situs, or situs, which we know is location? Scarcity, non-homogeneity, immobility, and modification. Indestructibility, situs or situs, fixity, and scarcity. Or situs, fixity, scarcity, and immobility.
I think it's B, but it's like so confusing.
All right, right. Okay, so are there any that we know for sure? We know, okay, one thing I know for sure is that scarcity is always going to affect value. Because if it's not scarce, then you're going to pay more. And then we also know that location is also going to
Citrus.
affect value. So it is
Also
always going to have to be situs.
cities.
So it's not B. Indestructibility. Indestructibility is not going to have an effect on value. That's a physical characteristic of land. So it's not C.
D. Citrus.
You know what? I'm
Fixity.
thinking it is. Well, D, the fact that it's immobile, that is a physical characteristic of land too. So I think it has to be A. So scarcity, fixity. Well, I wonder what they mean by fixity. Fixity. Modification would be whether or not there was an improvement on it. Did y'all's teachers use the word fixity? Even online, if you're on a Zoom, did anybody's teachers use the word fixity?
No, I never.
I've
Heard.
never heard of it either. What they mean
I've
by
never heard of
fixity?
it.
Fixity. Wait, you know who it's time for. You know who we call when we're not quite sure what the answer is, right? Let's call Uncle Ray. Let's see what he's got to say. Let me make sure the volume's up so y'all can hear. Hey, Uncle Ray. I'm taking a quiz question on the economic characteristics of land, and one of the answer choices is fixity. Fixity. What does that mean?
Hey, Candace, absolutely, I've got you covered. So when they talk about fixity as an economic characteristic of land, they're basically referring to how land is inherently immobile and kind of fixed in location. In other words, you can't move a piece of land from one place to another. It's pretty much stuck where it is. This is also sometimes called the land's situs. So if you see fixity on your quiz, just remember it's about the fact that land doesn't budge from its spot.
Well, that makes it the same. I mean, he said situs, but he said it also is immobile. I'm going to go with A, only because of the modification, y'all. Because I do think if you have modification, hey, Daisy, I think if you have modification, that's going to affect the value. But if we take fixity and say it's either the same as situs or it's the same of immobility, like if we just took fixity out, I would definitely say our answer is A because it's more complete. That's what I'm going to go for. I don't know, but now maybe I'm just having a Monday. Wait, I thought I changed colors. Boom. Maybe I'm just having a Monday, but it's Wednesday. I don't know. I'm going with A. And you said, Elena, you want to go with D? All right. I got nothing. This is where it's going to get interesting, y'all. Survey says, all right, the answer is A. Yay! A is our answer. But again, I'm gonna have to go with that's a bad question. Hey Danielle, I see you there on YouTube. Once again, I fixity is not one that I've ever seen. As many years as I've been doing this, y'all, I've never seen fixity listed as an economic characteristic of land. And I mean, even in his definition, he said it's like situs and it's immobile. Yeah, that one. I'm gonna have to go back to womp womp. I don't like that. But it is a good review of all these other words. All right. Number 11. All are examples of involuntary conveyance of title except. So that means we got 3 true.
Except the diction, it's like a gift. It's like the diction. It's the.
Yeah, dedication is when you gift real property to the government, right? So, and the key word here is involuntary. And if you gifted it, then that means you chose to give it to the government, right? But adverse possession, somebody took it, so you didn't choose. Condemnation is eminent domain. They took it, you didn't choose. And a tax sale means you didn't pay your taxes and you didn't choose that. So yeah, our answer is D. Nice job. Nice job. All right. Number 12. An option to purchase is A, a unilateral contract, B, a bilateral contract, C, an installment contract, or D, enforceable by the optioner.
It's
I'm assuming that.
unilateral contract.
Yeah, I know that it is a unilateral contract. And can anybody tell me the difference between a unilateral contract and a bilateral contract?
Okay, the unilateral is only one promise, and the bilateral it's 2 promises. Promise for promise.
Yes, and the unilateral, it's if and then. That's not how you spell then, Candace. If and then. If you do something, then we're under contract. And a bilateral is, both of us make promises. And I see, and I know there's a little bit of a delay. Danielle said she'd never heard of fixity either. Aren't the physical characteristics of land indestructibility, immobility, and uniqueness? Yeah, that's what I've always thought. The physical characteristics of land. I mean, I, I I'm with you, Danielle. I am with you on that one. I'm still like, I don't even know. But as I like to say, you can sometimes get these questions. I got them from free from a student, and sometimes they just suck. So we know the answer is A for 12. We know it's not B because it's not bilateral. We just talked about an installment land contract. That's like seller financing. We know that's like having a rent to own. So you're making a payment and then you get title. And then enforceable by the optionor. No, it's going to be enforceable by the optionee. There we go. All right. 13. Ugh. There's this assignment lease option. Oh, let's just read it. While Dana Nelson spends 6 months in Europe, she continues to pay her rent to her landlord, but actually collects rent from her friend Tim Baylor, who is living there while she's gone. This situation is known as an assignment, a sublet, a lease option, or a right of reverter. Oh, okay. Is it me or are they getting us today? Am I just, am I, this is what?
Between a sublet and assignment, I don't
Yeah,
know. Between
I'm
one of
with
those two.
that one. Okay, we know it's not the right of reverter because the
I
right of
think
reverter
it's
means it's
B,
going back.
B sublet.
Yeah, and then it's not a lease option because that
The
would
B.
be lease, then buy.
I think it's B for sure. It's sublet,
You
sublease,
think it's
sublet.
B for sure? I'm pretty sure that it is B only because in an assignment,
It's
she's
a
coming
transfer.
back. Well, it's both, but in both cases, somebody else is going to be responsible, but she's coming back.
Yes, I agree with that.
She's
Sublet.
coming back, so it's a sublet. If she assigned it, it would be like Tim moved in, and she still could possibly be responsible, but Tim is really the one doing everything. Now she's coming back, so my guess is that this is B, a sublet. But let's take a look. Number 13. B. Elena, I can't wait till you go to take this test again because I just know you are going to rock it.
Thank you,
I-
Candice. Thank
and
you.
I want you just to pretend like you're sitting here with us and we're talking through it, right? We're talking through it. So, and I think, Danielle, you said A for 13, an assignment. Does that make sense? This would be she never moves back in. Like he's completely taking over the possession part. She just would still be responsible if he just completely backed out. So there we go. 14. If a principal terminates a listing agreement during the listing period, the broker may be able to do any of the following except. All right, so we got a seller. He terminates the listing agreement during the listing period, which you can do. A seller can terminate. You can't force agency on anybody. But, oh, good, Danielle, you said that makes sense. But there could be some ramifications for that seller who said, no, you can't be my agent after all. So the broker may be able to do 3 of these things. So 3 of these are things you could do, and 1 of these is things you can't do. So we got 1, collect a commission for a transaction in process. Well, yeah, that's true. If you just try to quit agency after I found you a ready, willing, and able buyer, dude, you still owe me a commission. So yeah, you could still collect a commission. This is a true statement. Recovering marketing expenses. Yeah. Dude, you broke up with me. You were supposed to let me sell this house. I can recover my marketing expenses. Now, it's probably a good idea when you all get out there and start doing this, make sure your listing agreement says this. Hey, if you breach, then you need to cover the marketing expenses. It is not cheap to get somebody to come out and do, staging and videos and pictures and flyers and open house supplies and all of that. Mm-mm. So, yeah, that would be something you could get. Encourage termination of any contract in process. No, you can't do that. That's what we call petty. That would be the equivalent of I'm dating Elena, and when she breaks up with me because she's dating somebody else, so she decides to date, Matthew. Me going to Matthew and being like, Elena's awful, right? Like, you can't do that. Absolutely not. No. And then D, continue to cooperate with any subsequent listing broker. Well, yeah, you could. You could cooperate with them. I don't know if you're going to get paid, but you can cooperate with them. So, yeah, our answer is C. I like it. And I would never break up with Elena. She seems lovely. Hey, Samit. So, 15. All of the following statements are true except. They're really killing us with this true except. So we got 3 true, 1 false. The VA has the authority to make direct loans to the veterans. Now, is a true statement? Anybody? Is a true statement? Mm, 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 mm. Anybody? Is a true statement? And just in case anybody is wondering, the answer is, I wonder if it has the authority to make direct loans to veterans. I wonder. I don't know if they have the authority to do it, but I would say that this is, I would say false because we know the VA doesn't give money to the veterans. The money comes from the bank. It comes from the bank. But the question I have here is, do they have the authority to make direct loans to vets? I've never stopped to think about it. Like most VA loans with your certificate of eligibility says, hey, we'll cover this, but do they have the authority? Okay, let's see what else we got. The government sets the maximum loan amount on all VA government loans. Well, that's definitely false. That cannot be true. C, lenders are usually willing to make no down payment loan up to 4 times the maximum entitlement of the veteran applicant, which that's true. Usually you can have that like no down payments. We know it's not C. D, the veteran has liability for any claims paid by the VA on a VA loan. So yeah, if the VA has to pay out, yes, you would have to pay. That is a true statement. But now I'm stuck between B and A. B and A. Here's my thought process. You tell me what you all think. I would say the government never sets a maximum loan amount on all VA guaranteed loans. The fact that this word is all VA guaranteed loans makes me go, that's a solid false. And it makes me wonder, it says the authority. And this is the key part about this, guys. I mean, I think this question is interesting, but authority makes me go, does the VA have the authority to make direct loans, even though it's not what they usually do? Well, the VA guarantees that they'll pay you back. So, you know what we have to do? You know who we have to call. And if he tells me it's, but I don't even know. This is Stump the Candace Day, and I don't know, but this is how we learn. So here we go. Hey, Uncle Ray. I'm still taking a quiz, and I want to know if this statement is true or false. The Veterans Administration has the authority to make direct loans to veterans. I know they usually just guarantee, but does the VA have the authority to make direct loans to veterans?
Hey, Candace. Sure thing. So this one's a little bit of a tricky point. You're absolutely right that the VA is mostly known for guaranteeing loans rather than issuing them directly. But the statement is actually true because the VA does have the authority in certain specific circumstances to make direct loans to veterans. It's not the common route, but it can happen, especially in areas where maybe private financing isn't available. So for the quiz, you can go ahead and mark that statement as true.
Y'all, Uncle Ray be killing it. He's killing it. Yeah. Hey, Valerie, you're back. I hope you're feeling better. Boom, shakalaka laka. Yes. I'm glad you're back. And we're going to go with the answer that this is true, thanks to Uncle Ray. So that's not it. We're saying our answer is B. The government sets the maximum loan amount. That would be the false one. But let's take a look. Fingers crossed, y'all. Let's see if Uncle Ray knows what he's talking about. I mean, we already know he already knows what he's talking about, but Uncle Ray is amazing. What number are we on? 15? The answer is B. Uncle Ray does it again. And guys, look, I hope everybody, whether you're watching this live or you're watching this in a recording, see how like I was like this all word makes me a little suspect, and this one, that's what I would have to do if this was actually the exam. When I go to take my Michigan exam, I'll be doing the same thing, and I'm telling y'all, I'll be feeling your pain if I get a question like this. I'll be like, what? Yes, Valerie. Ugh, and you've definitely been in my prayers. I'm glad you're starting to feel better. All right, let's go to 16. Oof, my brain hurts already. 16. The most profitable way in which a particular property can be utilized is known as its what? The most profitable way in which a particular property can be utilized is known as its A, plottage value, B, highest and best use, C, increasing return, or D, principle of progression.
Highest best use.
Highest and best use.
Yeah, I think yes,
Sometimes,
B.
yep. Sometimes we get the easy ones, but I want to make sure we're all good with plottage value. The idea that when you have two items, maybe they're both worth 5 separately. When you put them together, instead of being worth 10, it'd be worth 15. So plottage is when you put it together and it's worth more. Increasing returns, I mean, it's increasing returns. You're getting more return from through what you're doing. And then the principle of progression is that idea that if you're surrounding a property with better properties, it's going to be worth more. So yes, B is our right answer. Yay. 17. Which of the following would not be allowed under the Federal Fair Housing Act? So that means 3 of these would be legal and 1 would be illegal. The owner of a 10-unit apartment building renting to men only. Okay, that seems like that would be weird because you can't do men only, and it's 10 units. Right? We do know that there's the exception if you've got an owner occupant, if it's 4 units or less, but that says 10. So I think this is illegal. A
What do they
landlord
mean by
refuses to
double
rent.
home?
You said it what, Caroline?
And I think
is-
it's sorry. Go ahead.
What does it mean by double home?
A double home is my guess a duplex.
I
That's
think
what my
the
guess
answer
is.
it's A because you can't rent on only men only.
Did you know I have
Yeah,
a cat?
I hear your little one, Elena. Ah, Okay, so I'm thinking double home sounds like a duplex to me. So, okay, we'll go with that. Which he lives to a woman with his 3 children. Well, if the landlord is in a 1 to 4 unit building, then this is legal. We have that, hey, if you live there and it's 4 or less units, you can, discriminate. An American Legion will only rent rooms to members who belong to the American Legion. That's legal because it's a group, because anybody can be part of the American Legion. And housing limited to persons age 62 or older. Yep, that's legal too.
I think the answer is A.
Yep, the answer is, you did say A, right? Answer's A. We're going. All right. Ooh, 18 is long. Let's see. The buyer gives the seller's agent a check for $5,000 to serve as an earnest money accompanying a purchase offer. He asks that the agent not deposit the check for 2 weeks, but also asks him not to tell the seller about this. When the agent presents the offer, he should. All right, so I'm going to kind of draw this out. We have a seller. The seller is going to have like a broker, and then there could be a salesperson.
Candice, I think it's D because do you know he's like a seller agent and the agent need to disclose everything and have a fiduciary duty to inform the sellers about everything.
Yeah, because right now we don't know of any buyer's agent, but this question is asking us about this buyer is asking somebody on the other side of this wall of separation to keep something from the seller. I'm going to go with you on D. Explain to the buyer that he has a fiduciary duty to inform the seller about the check. I like this one, but let's check the other ones. So it says, mention nothing about the check to anyone and wait to deposit at no. Because if I was the seller and then the check bounced and you didn't tell me, I'm going to sue you. So yeah, Valerie said D because we must disclose everything, yeah, to our clients. Say nothing and say nothing. No, yeah, I got it. Nah, that's not it. This is the only way to not get sued. All right, 19. No federal fair housing laws are violated if a landlord refuses to rent to people with children, Vietnamese, deaf persons, or students. I know y'all got this one. So it's basically asking, who can we discriminate against? Well, you can't discriminate against people with children. Obviously, you cannot discriminate against
I
any
think
race.
it's C, deaf persons.
No, well, D, this would be disability.
Okay, but deaf
You can't.
it mean like a died or it's disability? Sorry, I didn't understand. It's
Yeah, deaf, like
it's-
they can't hear.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
I got. Sorry, I'm sorry. Okay,
Deaf
students
means
D.
yep.
D.
So it's D, students. Students are not a protected class. Absolutely not.
I'm sorry. I thought it's like a deaf person. Sorry about that, but I
Oh
will
no,
now.
look, Elena, you are allowed to get something wrong. We all get something wrong. You saw us struggling earlier too. So there's that. I am not doing 20. I mean, I can do 20. Oh, I needed to pick a date. Did I pick a date for the math? Did I put the math in did I choose a date for math, y'all? Let me check.
No, I don't think so.
I don't think I chose a date for math yet. Let me take a look. Did I write it down? I think. What about next either Thursday the 18th or Thursday the 25th? Thursday 9/18 or 9/25. It would be at 6 p.m. Eastern. I don't know. So let me know if you're interested in it. Let me know if the 18th or the 25th will work for anybody. Or if I really need to, I could do 9/28. but it would be like 4 p.m. on a Sunday. So just email me. So email me so it's good. You make sure you're there, Valerie. So email me so I know. Even if you're seeing this later, you can email me. It'll be a free math class Thursday the 18th or Thursday the 25th at 6 p.m. Or if I need to do a Sunday, 9/28 at 4 p.m. All right, 21. Assuming the net operating income remains constant, what will happen to the present value of the property if the capitalization rate increases? Now, remember, we talked about this. The present value will increase, stay the same, decrease. Increase at first and then decrease. Do y'all remember talking about this? We talked about this. What day was that? Friday? Was that Friday we talked about this? I don't remember. I didn't remember if it was Friday. So we know that the higher you need a math session too? The
Is there
higher
more
the cap
risk?
rate,
I think it would
More
decrease.
risk?
the higher the risk, and the higher the risk, you're going to pay less. If it was less risky, you pay more. So if the if the capitalization rate goes up, it's more risky and you'll pay less. So I know that it's C. I know it's C, it's decrease. I think it was on the Friday party, Valerie. I think you're right. And hopefully that makes sense. Guys, especially for those in states where you don't have math on the test, I need to make sure that you understand this. This is a great way to test you on cap rates without having to make you take out a calculator. All right. Which of the
I
following
might be
would...
oh, I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Caroline. Go for it.
I was going to say, even though I'm in California, I would love to do the math because I think that's something that I'd
Well,
really,
of course, yes.
Yeah.
You know what? I always say this when people are like, but why? Imagine your mom or your sister or your brother or anything like that was anybody that you cared about was going to an agent. Don't you want them to go to an agent who understands basic math concepts? Like,
yes.
I mean, that's just how I feel about it. I wish every state had math, and I wish every state made all of us do the disclosure statement so that when you finish this class, you feel comfortable explaining it, not legally, but understanding what you're looking at when you go to help a buyer or seller buy or sell. All right. Which of the following would terminate a listing agreement? Which of the following would terminate a listing agreement? Is it A, the death of a broker, B, the retirement of the salesperson, C, the receipt of an offer to purchase, or D, the expiration of the salesperson's license?
I think it's A, the death of the broker.
Yeah.
Me too, because I think
Listing,
I just have to,
listing agreement is between like the broker and the principal, the client.
Yeah, it's between the broker and the client. So if the broker dies, we'd have a problem. The salesperson has nothing to do with it. We're just going to replace you. I hope that an offer should not terminate absolutely not. And the expiration of the salesperson's license, once again, that's a no, because remember, when you become a salesperson, they are not hiring you, they're hiring your broker, right? Oh, I did have another question for y'all. So we know that I had to go back here, the 18th or 25th. So we know for math, y'all are going to email me either 9/18, which is a Thursday, or 9/25, which is a Thursday, which would be 6 p.m. Or would we do Sunday the 28th? What time did I say? Boop, boop, ba-doop, ba-doo. Scroll at 4 p.m. because I have to teach on Sundays, but it would be after class. So you all can email me on that one. But separate, something I've noticed is, yes, I'll go back to 21 in a second. Something I've noticed is I get more people joining about 6:45 or so. On Wednesdays, I notice more people join at 6:45. So if it would, I mean, I'm okay with 6, but would it be better for people on the West Coast if I did this at 7 p.m. or 8 p.m.? Would it be better for people if I did this a little later? Remember, I'm doing this for you all. So if I just notice every time I do it, I just get more people towards the end. And I'm wondering if it's because people are traveling home after work. I could do 7 or 8. Just let me know. All right. And here we're going to go back to 21. And you said, Danielle, you want to study number 21? We went into a pretty good discussion on number 21 on Friday's webinar. So if you want to jump in, and hey, Antonio. So if you want to take a look at Friday's live, we talked about this. There you go. You said Wednesday, 7 p.m. was ideal. Okay, I could maybe push it back. We'll work on it. Let me keep thinking about it. I won't just change it with everybody. I'll give y'all a couple weeks notice. But if it means more people are be able to like not have to rush home and things like that, totally don't mind doing it later for y'all. All right. Number 23. A doctor calls and states he is pre-qualified to buy a $300,000 home. Isn't there a way to do a survey on YouTube? Sorry, ADHD. A doctor calls and states he is pre-qualified to buy a $300,000 home. He is not familiar with your area and asks where he should live. You reply, the Heights Estates. That's where several professionals like yourself live. This is an example of A,
Steering.
blockbusting, B, steering, C, redlining, or D, doing your job.
It's C, it's B for sure, like steering.
All right. All right, so we got a B for steering. Well, we know Blockbusters is about sellers. All right, so it's not that because he's looking to buy a home. Redlining is about lending. And it's the fact that he says, like yourself. Then that, yeah, so it's not doing your job. Our answer is B. Danielle, you said you're scheduled to pass your exam next Tuesday. I wouldn't be able to join after that. Miss Danielle, if we need to do a math session, just let me know. If we need to try to work you in, I can if you got some math questions, because I know you've been working at this, so email me. All right.
Candice,
Do we want to do math? Nope. Yes.
can we do like Friday tomorrow? Not after tomorrow. Tomorrow, like math.
This Friday? Let me see. Would everybody be available this Friday? Let me see. Checking my schedule. So you're saying maybe do, instead of doing a 3 p.m. Friday live, I mean, I guess I could do a short one, doing one this Friday at like 7 p.m.? Okay, let's say this. If enough people email me, if I have at least 4 people who say yes to 9/12 at 7 p.m., then I will do that. So 4 people email me and say they can do, because that's not a lot of time. If 4 people email me and say yes tonight, then I'll respond to all 4 people. Anybody who emails me, if there's 4, and I can do 9/12 at 7 p.m. I'm just looking at my schedule. I don't see why not. I don't have anything else there, family. So yeah, if I have enough people that can make it that short a notice, we can do it Friday at 7. All right, email me, guys. Email me, because you know my brain isn't good. So Candace Ellis.
Your brain is good, but like you have too much stuff to do.
Yeah, that too. Sure, that's it. All right, we're not going to do some math there. We're not going to do math there. Okay. Number 26. 7 p.m. It would have to be due to me being there on time, and I'd hate to miss out. So, Valerie, if you could do Friday at 7 p.m., let me know. So, anybody interested, and then that way, Danielle, you could get it in. You could get it in. The email's already sent. Valerie said the email's already sent. All right. Looks like I'll be seeing y'all Friday. I'll do two. I'll do a short one Friday afternoon, just in case for the people who weren't here today. And then anybody who wants to jump in last minute. And then I'll do a longer one, what'll be all math Friday evening. Okay, looking for those 4 emails. And it won't be, now, let me say, it won't be this email, this Zoom address. It'll be a new Zoom address. And it won't be live. So. 26. When negative amortization occurs, when negative amortization occurs, the monthly payment increases, the term of the loan increases, the loan balance increases, or the term of the loan decreases. And we've already got people saying C, the loan balance increases.
I agree. C.
Yep, and it is C. All right, guys, it's 7 o'clock, and so I'm going to just put this back on the screen. This is my email. Boop, stop it. If you can do 9/12 at 7 p.m., I know Valerie's already sent it. Email me. It's going to be not a live, but it will be a Zoom so everybody can do it. Your faces won't be recorded, and it's going to be math. And I'll make sure that you all leave with some math worksheets and some answer keys and all sorts of stuff like that. And as long as you email, yeah, it does take me a time to email back. You're not even wrong, Danielle. Sometimes I just get lost in it. And was I going to say something else? Yes. Oh, and then do I need to move Wednesdays to a later time? Let me know. Do I need to move Wednesdays to a later time? So, guys, I'm going to go because, one, I'm all out of water. Y'all know I talk. Thank you so much. I hope this helps y'all. Look, see, I have more people than when we started. I think we do need to move it later, but if there's going to be a problem for somebody with me moving it later, I mean, it's free. How much problem could you have? But I'm thinking we need to, in the next couple of weeks, move this later so that I get more people when you all are free. And I will see a lot of you all on Friday. Looks like twice on Friday. But if you have questions, you know how to reach me, and I'll see everybody later. Bye,
Thank you,
everybody.
Candace.
Thank you,
Thank you.